Hello everyone, just a quick word from your friendly editor/husband. For all of you who listen to So I'm Watching This Show and own an Android device, do me a favor. Go to the Google Play Store and download the Podcast Republic app. It's a fantastic app that allows you to get all of your favorite podcasts directly on your Android devices. I use the app and love it. I can search for the podcasts I want to listen to, select them as favorites, and have them all just a click away. Make sure you set So I'm Watching the Show as a favorite so you don't miss any new episodes. Again, the app is Podcast Republic, available on your Android device. Thanks!
We actually could have recorded that because it would segue into what I was going to talk about.
Oh, hey, you're coming over Thursday, right?
Yes.
I made a bunch of red sauce yesterday. Do you want some?
Oh, awesome. It'll go perfectly with my white sauce from Monique's, Nick. I got to start calling her Nick, but...
Oh, damn. Did you make it?
No, I'm going to today.
Sweet. That sounds good. You got to let me know how it goes.
Lizzie Angel site. Yeah, it's her best keto garlic Alfredo sauce. Yeah. And apparently she's had it for ages, but it's like not a new recipe. But its secret ingredient, if I may say, is mozzarella, which is bold in a
that is bold.
Not flavor-wise, but the texture, you know, it
I wonder if that helps keep it creamy.
Mm.
Yeah, interesting.
Oh, like separate. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to let you know. Hello, everybody. I am Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this actually is So I'm Watching the Show in its purest form and its most base form. How are you?
Oh, mostly I'm fine until I just hit a wall, and then I'm not great. On the bright side, I've been able to watch long-form narratives again.
I'm still mixed with that. I really only watched one show. I didn't finish it. I only started one show, but I liked it. So did you want to start with something, or?
I mean, I have a lot more things to talk about on here. But actually, we watched another movie last night, too. We've actually been kind of killing it. I haven't finished a couple things, so I'm still in the middle of Little Fires Everywhere, which is very good.
What is it about? I don't know anything about it.
You don't know anything about it? So it takes place in the 90s, and it's... What?
That's a decade that I like. Oh.
It's not like... I don't think it's the kind of 90s that you want.
It's not the People versus OJ, Kris Jenner's house 90s.
Well, I mean, it's a little bit like... Reese Witherspoon is really like she's wealthy. She and Joshua Jackson are married, and they're like a wealthy family with 4 kids. And then Kerry Washington and her daughter move into the area and rent a house from like a duplex or whatever from Reese Witherspoon. Mm-hmm. And then it just sort of goes down this weird rabbit hole. And I'm only, like I said, halfway through, where like Kerry Washington's keeping a lot of secrets. And
are there, in fact, little fires everywhere?
Well, okay, so that actually opens the first episode where, like, Reese Witherspoon is watching her house burn down, her, like, really nice house burn down. Mm-hmm. And the, like, fire marshal or whoever comes up to her and is like, someone's started the fire. We could see that there was an accelerant. There were little fires everywhere that started, like, all through the house. So I haven't gotten there yet. I really like it, but it's a little bit strangely convoluted, and I wonder if that's like because it like how it is in the book, or if they've made it a little more convoluted for the show. And it's very tense.
Is it a mystery?
It's kind of a mystery because you don't know who burned down the house.
I thought it was a comedy.
No,
so I guess
it is not. I mean, there are funny parts, but it is not. It's not a comedy.
Is it like Desperate Housewifey or
no? It's a drama.
Okay.
It's dramatic. Okay. Yeah. I think you should watch it because it's very good, but I don't want you to go in thinking that it's a laugh riot because it's not. Mm-hmm. And it's like honestly a little more uncomfortable than anything because Reese Witherspoon has that kind of like rich white housewife racial sensitivity, which is to say not very much. Mm-hmm. So she has a lot of really, really weighty and kind of pointed interactions with Kerry Washington. It's uncomfortable.
I think I was anticipating it being like Dead to Me, which is kind of funny.
It's much more dramatic than that. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's good. I like it. It's really, I mean, it's made super well. It's really fun to look at. The opening credits are stunning. And the kids are pretty fun. Kerry Washington's daughter is very good. And then 2 of Reese Witherspoon's kids are good. The youngest 2, the boy and the girl. The older ones are useless. But yeah, I like it. Other than that, I think I mentioned it a couple times before. I am like a season and a half into Killing Eve, which is really good. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that because we've talked about it a couple times already, but it's funny. It's a show that's funny.
It's another one that I don't actually know what it is. Who is Eve, and is someone killing her?
Well, so Eve is Sandra Oh, and Jodie Comer, whose name is Villanelle, is basically trying to kill her, sort of. But they
are they like spies or something?
Well, so again, I keep not committing it to memory. I don't know which one is real, MI5 or MI6. I don't know which one is James Bond and which one's real. But Eve works for them, like British intelligence, and Villanelle is an assassin. And so basically, Eve is trying to find Villanelle, and then once Villanelle realizes that Eve's on her trail, she's trying to kill her, but then they also weirdly are like sort of halfway falling in love with each other at the same time.
So is it actually gay, or is it like Rizzoli and Isles gay?
No, it's pretty gay.
Okay.
I mean, they haven't like consummated anything, but it's because they're literally trying to kill each other. But I have seen some GIFs from season 3 where I think they finally kissed. But it's, I mean, they're going for it. They like it's not like Rizzoli and Isles where it's just like two hot ladies with subtext. It's like they are like legitimately into each other.
Okay.
But it's like a really weird psychosexual cat and mouse kind of thing.
And it's also funny?
It is actually funny, yeah.
Okay.
It's Phoebe Waller-Bridge. It's not a comedy. It's an hour long.
Funny. Okay.
But it's Phoebe Waller-Bridge, so it is funny. Yeah. Yesterday, Will and I watched a spooky movie called The Lodge, and I don't actually remember where it's streaming, but I guess it came out last year, and it was so fucking weird. First of all, the cast was like weirdly stacked because the only person I didn't know was the little girl, but the mother was Alicia Silverstone, the father was Richard Armitage, and the son was Jaden Martell from It and Knives Out and everything. And then the like stepmom was Riley Keough, and it was just a really weird spooky movie that tried to do way too many things, and it turned out that like none of the things you thought were happening were actually happening. It was really weird, and I just needed to tell you about it because it was so weird. It was really, really, really strange, and Will didn't really like it either, but he's the one that wanted to watch it, and it just ended up being so convoluted that it was really, really strange.
Sound like Bailey, shit, I can't think of her name.
Oh, from SNL?
Yeah. It was really random.
It was like weird.
I don't know. It was like awkward.
I don't know.
Oh my god, don't tell Thanos that you know me. No, it was strange. There was like cult stuff, there was suicide stuff, there was purgatory stuff, there was like a haunted doll, maybe. It was just like really tons of random shit.
And you don't remember what was it called?
It's called The Lodge.
I want to watch it.
Yeah, it's called The Lodge.
The Lodge.
Yeah.
Well, it's got a 73 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, I mean, the atmosphere of it was really good. It felt spooky and weird the whole time.
So it's like magic.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. I kind of watched. I don't want to give it away because if anybody wants to watch it, there are spoilers. But it was you've
pitched it to me. I want to watch it now.
Yeah, it was too many things. That was my problem. Is that it was too many things and it didn't totally land any of them.
They're overbearing religious iconography.
There's a lot of religious iconography.
Okay. There's a heavy-handed cross on her face in the poster.
Yeah, yeah. So I wanted to ask you. You told me yesterday that you did watch the Parks and Rec special. Did you like it?
Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah.
I think it was certainly good for what they were able to do.
Yeah.
Like, I think I would have rather actually had, like, a scripted, like, special. And there is a part of it where it's like, oh, these are the actors, like, Skyping each other, trying to make the best of an awkward situation. And so, in that regard, it was a little kind of like, huh. I mean, absolutely no shade to the people, because kind of like what I said with the SNL episodes, I'm like, yes, they're going to be bad. I don't care. The point is they're trying.
Right.
Like,
they also raised like $3 million.
Did they really?
They did.
I watched it on YouTube after the fact. But, there were a handful of bits in it, and I wish that they could have, like, shared more screen time. Well, for starters, I was thoroughly impressed and pleased with all the people that were there.
Yeah.
Because I was expecting the 8 of them. You know what I mean? And so when they brought in
got Ben Schwartz and Mo Collins. Yeah.
fucking purred happily.
Yeah.
Oh my God. He's this weird unsung hero of that show.
I know.
Because the way that he says things, where he's like, I don't even remember what it was, but it was like, we are back with what I am doing. And it's just like,
well,
we being me and you, the audience, are now watching this.
It's so funny because we were watching it, I think, yesterday. And I was having a lot of fun with it. And you saw the captions a couple of times underneath their names. And especially when they were talking, when Leslie and Ben were talking to Joan. And it was like, under Ben, it was like Congressman ? And he just like, she had no idea. And I think Leslie's was like deputy director of, I don't know, or something like that. It was just
all
like
of her dolls.
Okay, that's the other thing, because I saw somebody tweeting about it on Thursday, and they were like, my favorite thing about the Parks and Rec special is just seeing what things people stole from set. Because Joan had, like, or Mo Collins has all of those Joan Calamezzo paintings, which are hilarious. I love that. That was the stuff that I really, all the like little background stuff was the stuff that I liked the best, for sure.
My favorite actual bit, and this is the part of me that wishes that it was like something more properly scripted, was that they were like testing Rob Lowe. I can't think of his name. Chris
They
were
Traeger.
testing Chris' blood or something because apparently his white blood cells are visible to the naked eye.
Like a cherry Fruit Loop.
That was it. It was like hilarious and also hellish. Like,
yeah,
also
so
just kind of disgusting. But yeah, it was stuff like that. And so I think it was cute. I am absolutely, like I said, any of my critiques are more so I'm sad that the opportunity to revisit this was crippled by the circumstances and not anything that anyone did.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine that they would still be willing to get together and do a real one when this is all over.
I mean, we have but scratched the surface of what this event is going to, the effect this event is going to have in the future. And
yeah,
I think we'll see more. I think we'll see, and not necessarily revivals in the second run of Will and Grace sort of way, but I think that this is just the beginning of stuff like this.
I agree for sure.
And it's exciting. It's interesting, and it is a bright light, a light at the end of the tunnel. And and frankly, because I mean, I've been vocal, or I've talked about how I've stuck with my late night TV shows and hosts like Colbert and Seth Meyers and John Oliver and Samantha Bee, all 4 of them. And I've gotten very used to it. It was awkward at first, but I've gotten very used to the change in quality, the change in, because it's like Stephen Colbert is like, it's forced him into like a 4th character.
Oh, funny.
Because we've seen him play so many versions of himself.
Yeah.
And so he really had like the jester down pat recently on his show, where he was very much performing for his audience and being very silly for them. And now that he doesn't have the audience, it's forcing him to be slightly more snide.
Oh, fun.
And that's fun to nail, or that's a tricky balance to nail while still being charming. And so it's like, we've gotten to a point, because we're 6 weeks in now, where sometimes the absence of a reaction is the punchline.
Yeah, I was going to say too, he's such like a sweetheart, where he's just like such a nice man that getting him to be snide is sort of funnier than anything else.
Well, it's gone ironic a little bit.
Yeah.
Where it's like Seth Meyers is like salt the earth right now. Like he's at full blow, like full dark, no stars. And it's concerning. It's the anger of the gentle man.
Sure.
So, yeah, and Samantha Bee has been doing really well because she's just in the woods. I don't know if it's like her backyard or
I'm
where
sure
they're
it's
going.
her house, yeah.
Yeah, but she's just like in the woods with her husband and children. And there was like an infestation. Well, first of all, there was an infestation of wasps at Seth Meyers, and he's been turning them into punchlines. Like, and I forgot what it was, but he was like, something was drawn to blank, like wasps to my attic. And which also, okay, so he talked to Martha Stewart. I fucking love Martha Stewart.
She's amazing.
She's so unapologetically what she is. And it's like, and she's at this point now where you can't even really call her a bitch anymore because she's got too good of a sense of humor now. It's like you don't be genuine best friends with Snoop Dogg and not understand your deal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I agree. You don't, as a 70-plus-year-old woman, be best friends with Snoop Dogg if you don't know your deal. I mean, I feel like you could be, like, we could be, like, best friends with Snoop Dogg and not know our deal. But if you're, like, 70-plus and you've been famous since you were, like, 15 doing Sears catalog
as, like,
modeling.
a Connecticut housewife. Yeah. It's like...
She knows. She knows what's up.
My favorite thing, because they were just in her kitchen, beautiful. She had everything all like laid out and she was making cocktails and stuff. But my favorite thing about it is that she basically kidnapped her staff, but she phrases it like they're staying with her.
Uh-huh.
It's hilarious because she kept talking about how we'll have dinner and blah, blah, blah. And Seth was finally like, who's we? And she was like, oh, well, it was like my driver and my maid and my like blah, blah, blah. She was like, I need them. They couldn't leave. So she was like, they're staying here with me in like the guest house. And I was just like, Martha,
I mean,
you can't keep people. It was so funny. And she was just like, we're having a blast. And she like schedules like game night and stuff. And it's just...
Look, okay. If I had to be away from my family and my alternative was stay in Martha Stewart's house where she will feed me, I would think about it. I would definitely think about it.
It's a ranch, so she has livestock and a garden. You know what I mean? It's like, if we're talking zombie apocalypse, it's a score.
Yeah, for sure.
It is one of those where at a certain point, I feel like you start wondering what the actual prison is. like a gilded cage, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, 100%.
And just like the way that she was so casually saying it, I was like, Martha, those are slaves. You can't do this.
I would imagine she's still paying them.
No, I know. So, yeah. So that's been really fun for me. And like I said, I've gotten used to it. And of all of them, the one I think that fared the best was John Oliver. Yeah. Because it's just forced his show to be a little bit more efficient. It's like in kind of a 25, 30-minute place now.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Where he doesn't like go off on, because he's a little bit indulgent. Like he can go on tangents sometimes where it's like, okay, but let's.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen a couple gift sets of him just talking about Adam Driver.
Yeah.
Where he's just like, step on my neck, Adam Driver.
Yeah. It's also forced him to actually talk about last week tonight, which has been my biggest issue with his show. I love the deep dive investigations that he does, but it's like for, well, like 7 years, he's been so insistent that he's not going to cover the topical news. And I'm like, did you need to rename your show? Like,
I mean, he always does like a bit at the beginning.
Yeah.
But then it's like a deep dive. I agree with you. I wish he would be a little more topical. My only thing is there's so many people who are doing the topical thing. Like all of the people you just mentioned, Trevor Noah. I mean, it's just lots of people are doing it. But right now, I think we can't have enough people covering it.
Apparently, all bets are off at Wendy Williams' house. Like I've heard from multiple people that the Wendy Williams show is like a work of art right now.
Oh, no.
Because there's no steering wheel. It's just her in her house. And it is hideous. her house.
Is it?
There are so many tchotchkes, and like there's like a life-size Betty Boop statue wearing like Supreme gear with like Gucci purses on it.
Wow.
And then she had like a giant bejeweled hamburger with real pickles on top of it.
Ew,
and
what the fuck?
it's like a 50s diner and a Red Robin like collided into Planet Hollywood. And her fire alarm is chirping. Her smoke detector is chirping.
Yeah.
And she insists that it's broken and that they've just gotten used to it. And I was like, well, and it wasn't me because actually John Oliver was talking about it, but he was like, it needs batteries.
Yeah.
It's not broken. It needs batteries. And frankly, that like, and because he said about it, he was like, what looks like the world's most flammable apartment. Like, and she's just eating the weirdest combination of food and basically being like, and if you don't want to watch me eat, get fucked. And it's just kind of like, it's kind of admirable. I don't know. It's hilarious, but
I feel like I don't have the patience for that. I don't have the patience for produced Wendy Williams.
I kind of love Wendy Williams, but it's definitely a guilty pleasure. And we don't really believe in that. But yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, what's the one thing that you have been watching?
Oh, Upload.
Oh, is it good? That's on my list. I was curious.
It is.
It's Robbie Amell, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Robbie Amell, and I'm trying to think who else is in it. Oh, this is The Lodge. I navigated away from.
Sorry.
I was like Jaden Martell and Alicia Silverstone. And
I haven't got to them yet.
yeah, he's the only one that. Jessica Tuck is his mother.
Love her.
We just talked about her in 911 last week.
We did just talk about her.
And actually appropriate as his mother, I think. And
yeah, I think so.
it started in a place where I was like, oof, this is going to be really cringy, like really cheesy and really crude. And it, for me at least, pretty quickly pulled up from that. It didn't abandon any of that. It is definitely, TVMA. They say fuck. There's, nudity and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and it's 30 minutes.
Oh,
when I realized it was,
nice.
Yeah. I'm like on episode 5. You know what I mean? I was just like blowing through it. But it is the other creator from, so not Mike Schur, his writing partner from The Office. And
okay. Greg Daniels?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it's ironic because it's basically The Good Place. And okay, so the show it's The Good Place plus Black Mirror plus The Sims.
Okay.
That's what the show is like. And so they realized, and this is a phenomenon that happens a lot with art and science and stuff, where it's like similar or like different people will make the same breakthroughs at the same time.
Yeah.
And they weren't talking to each other at the time. And when they both were like, we're working on a new project, and they both realized it was with the same theme, they just sort of made a deal to not get involved in each other's work.
Smart.
And so he still hasn't seen The Good Place, but he had some of his crew watch it so they could steer him away. He was like, there was a handful of times where like, you can't do this. The Good Place did that.
Funny.
But it's in the future, and that's kind of one of my favorite parts is because it's very Better Off Ted, and it's the futureness. Like, things are like medical breakthroughs are sponsored by Oscar Mayer or like L'Oreal, and the city has just like San Francisco and New York just has like 30 extra skyscrapers that are just like taller and stuff. But it's in the future, and in this world, you can have your consciousness uploaded to like a computer system that is basically heaven. They're like, well, we don't know if there's a heaven, so let's do this. And it sounds great. And it is actually pretty sweet. But as you would figure, corporations and money get involved and stuff. And so it's like there are exclusive neighborhoods that are only for the wealthy people in heaven. And then it's like you need to have an account. So it's like he basically dies in an accident and his girlfriend bullies him into going to her heaven.
Okay.
So that they can be together forever. And so she's paying for it. And they can communicate because I mean it's his brain exists on a computer, so she can call him on the phone and stuff. And so she like can now hold his existence over him. Like if he fights her, she can threaten to delete his account. And so it's really interesting in that regard. And he kind of starts to fall in love with one of the employees who runs the system. They kind of function like angels. They can like come in and out and like help you with stuff, like Janet, basically.
Interesting.
So he starts to fall in love with his Janet, and she starts to fall in love with him. And then on top of that, there's a mystery.
Ooh.
So it took me about 2 episodes to decide I liked it.
Okay.
But it looks good. It's got that perfect balance between like impressive special effect with just like a hair of cheesiness, which also The Good Place was very good at.
Yeah. It's so funny. I'm going to be interested to watch it and compare it to The Good Place because I think Greg Daniels leans a lot more cynical, where Mike Schur is a very optimistic person. Because you can see where their sensibilities go, like rub up against each other on The Office, and having them both tackle the same thing totally separately sounds fascinating. Even
though we're dealing with a quote unquote heaven realm, it's more about life, about reality, because there are people who opt out of this system, A, because they can't afford it, but B, because they find it unnatural and they sort of want to go to real heaven if it's real, if it exists. And they're playing around with like rebuilding organic bodies and downloading people back into bodies. But the one guy that they do it, his head explodes. And so he like dies.
Wow.
But yes, it's very, like I said, the corporate stuff, it really checks, and it really, like, when they pitch it to you in the first episode, you're like, this is actually so amazing. Like, this sounds like such a perfect future, like idea, because since we don't know if heaven's real, let's just create a heaven. Like, that's like The Sims that we can live in. And then once you realize that the company, like, they advertise to you in it, and it's just like, oh, no, thank you. You know what I mean? It's like...
it's so crazy.
So I'm into it. I was a little slow, and like they have his funeral, and he can go to his funeral and watch it through like a giant TV screen, and they're like talking to him, like he's like a giant digital painting. You know what I mean? It's wild. It's pretty wild.
Okay, well that jumped up my list a little. I'm excited to watch that.
They're between 30 and 45 minutes each. Yeah, so
nice.
That was my big one.
Well, I talked about a couple of these things. I don't remember if I talked about them with you or just in general, but I also watched that show on Netflix called Outer Banks, and
right.
I still kind of want you to watch it. Is
it just a teen soap opera?
Well, sort of.
I didn't mean that like just a waitress. I meant like, is it a teen soap opera?
Sort of. So I will tell you one thing now, just so that you can maybe make a mental jump to get over it, because it was the thing that I hated the most about it, which is it basically takes place in the Outer Banks. And there are these 2 groups of kids, the rich kids and the poor kids. And the poor kids call themselves the Pogues, and they call the rich kids the Kooks. And they both sound like slurs. It's awful. They don't stop saying it the whole time. It's the worst part about the show, is that they just won't stop.
Do they at least explain where it comes from?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. No explanation. They just call themselves that, and I hate it.
They're too ugly of words to just throw around. Like,
yeah, it's awful. It's really awful. But the show itself is interesting, and I will say it takes like till the end of episode 2-ish. That's how long it took me to really like 100% snag me, and I just turned this on like literally just for shits one day because I saw a bunch of people talking about it on Twitter. And so it kind of is like the OC meets the Goonies, because there ends up being a treasure hunt. And it's wild, and it's pretty cool. And the characters are all really great. At one point, one of the poor boys and one of the rich girls fall in love with each other. Yeah, it's awful. I'm not going to keep doing it.
Porgs are from Star Wars.
No, it's like Pogue, Pogue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes it less bad to me.
Okay. I mean, if that helps you, that's fine.
It's like Vogue.
But it really...
Vogue. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I really ended up enjoying it, and it ends on kind of a cliffhanger, but like an interesting cliffhanger where they really could get to a season 2 from it. And I think you're going to be in love with the main kid.
Mm. Yeah. I would be curious because we spent summers in the Outer Banks, so I'd be curious if it feels real.
Well, it's filmed in Charleston, so no.
I mean, that's closer than California or Canada.
Yeah, it just doesn't look quite the same.
Doesn't look like Kitty Hawk. Okay.
It feels very Carolina marshy, and they're constantly on boats, they're constantly swimming, they're surfing all the time. So it checks, but I also just kind of want you to watch it so that we can talk about how bad the rich kids suck. Because they're so sucky. They're just awful. Like, just so much worse than you think that rich kids could be. It was awful. But I really like the show in general. So I want you to watch it. I'm not going to force you, but if you find yourself with time and you just throw it on, I'd be interested to see what you think.
Is anybody gay?
No. Yeah, no. I didn't even think about it till you just said that, which is weird, come to think of it.
Mm-hmm.
They should at least be bisexual. But they're not. Yeah, that is weird. That's something I didn't consider until you asked about it. All right. My estimations of it are still high, but a little lower, to be honest, actually, now that, it's 2020. There should be, I'm very Eleanor Shellstrop in that way. More guys should be bisexual. It is a very male heavy show too. Like there's only one girl with the Pogues, and there's actually only one girl with the Kooks. So there's really only two like actual female characters on the show. And the rest are just like groups of boys.
And there's no magic.
No magic, no.
This is a tough sell, Kristen.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Let's see. I do have one with magic. Will and I watched that Sophia Lillis show called I Am Not Okay With This.
Oh, that one has magic?
Well, she has powers.
Oh, I didn't know that.
She's like telekinetic. Yeah, it was really very good. It's her and his name is Wyatt Oleff. He played Stan in the It movies. So they're back together. It was really cute. We plowed through all of it last night. Most of the episodes are 20 minutes long, which is honestly, I was talking about it with Will last night, and I was like, I love when shows are like, an hour and 10 minutes, an hour and a half. Like, I really can get into that when it's used well. But for whatever reason, the 20 minutes and then end were really, they felt perfect for this show. And it was really, I liked it quite a lot. It's funny and it's cute and it's like, it felt very realistic, even, I mean, obviously despite the superhero, whatever powers stuff, but it was good.
I was going to say, I've downloaded and had the subscription to Quibi, but I haven't watched anything yet. Not much, at least I watched 2 things, and I liked it, but they're releasing things weekly, and so I'm like, well, I'm not going to wait weeks for like a 9-minute thing, but because I want to watch, there's one about Sophie Turner. She survives a plane crash, and I want to watch that one. And then Nicole Richie's show is hilarious, and Chrissy Teigen's show is hilarious. And then there's a neat one about a guy that goes around and finds old pasta recipes, from Italian, old people that's cute. They're gonna die out, and they're very strange. One of them, it was these little boats that she scrapes her fingers across the dough and makes little boats for as the shape. And yeah, it was interesting. So and also, I mean, I've got to give the biggest shout out to TikTok. TikTok has been the weirdest breath of fresh air, and and it's not just me. I mean, it's it's me and Jen and my mom send each other, and even Rachel, we're constantly sending each other TikToks, but it's you'll check it at 11 o'clock at night, and the next thing you know, it's 1:30. You just keep it's every 30 to 60 seconds another one pops up, and so it's Vine but longer, and there's more. I've shown you some of them. It's so fun, it's so interesting. God bless the kids. the ones that aren't racist, because there's also ones that are using it to tell on themselves, and it's like, whoa. But
Jesus.
Most of them are so great, and they're so creative, and they have like hope in their eyes, and they like are beautiful, and it's just like and all of them have fucking swank houses. I'm so pissed. but yeah, they're just so creative, and it's just it's a lot of fun. And I mean, they're keeping us going in hard times. So that's my big shout out to 2018. So TikTok,
awesome.
Get on it.
TikTok, do it. Okay, I actually really only have one left, which is another Netflix show called Never Have I Ever. It's produced by Mindy Kaling, and she's like a co-creator on it. I think it's like it's not.
Yeah. I was thinking Light as a Feather. That's on Hulu.
No, yeah, it's different. So basically, it's just the story of an Indian girl named Devi, and she is, her. There's like a lot going on, and you get a lot in the first episode. But basically, for like one or like part of a school year, she was sort of psychosomatically paralyzed, so she couldn't walk because her dad died at her harp recital. And it goes kind of from there, where she like one day is just okay again, and she's starting, I think, her sophomore year at high school, but she has to be like dealing with the fact that her dad is dead still, obviously, and that she was the weird girl who was paralyzed but for no medical reason the year before. And she's like trying to get the attention of this really hot guy, and her cousin's living with them, and her cousin is like super duper beautiful, and it's like kind of ridiculous, and she has a really strained relationship with her mom. But it is so funny and really heartfelt, and I really kind of loved every moment of it. I watched the whole series sometime last week, maybe Tuesday. I just like plowed through the whole thing. It was so good. It made me feel so good. It was just super, super cute. And I 100% recommend that all the way. Yeah, it was really, really, really cute. And it's super fast to get through. Like I said, I watched it all in one afternoon. So I definitely recommend that one. So yeah, that's pretty much the end. The only other thing that we've watched lately is that Chris Hemsworth Netflix movie, which was fine, but it's like just an action movie. It's not telling anything, any like really big themes or anything.
Okay, but, cool. Yeah, let us know what you're watching.
Yes, definitely let us know what you're watching, because we're always on the lookout, even though we have, limited time in which we can't make sourdough bread for our friends. But yeah, I guess, do you have anything else before we go?
Nope.
All right. As always, you can follow us on Twitter at So I'm Watching, Instagram at So I'm Watching This Show. We also have a website, soimwatching.com, that links out to everything. In addition to our normal episodes, Tuesdays and Fridays, we are releasing shorter bonus episodes about Penny Dreadful, City of Angels right now, and we will be starting Snowpiercer in a week or so. And yeah, other than that, just please rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes or wherever you listen. And that's it for us. Bye.